Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of What's New in SwaggerHub Explore. As always, joined by Temil Sanchez. Temil, want to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back.
Yes, so this is probably going to be our last update of the year. Time is flying, but we just want to give you a quick insight into some of the recent features that have dropped, and predominantly the share spaces feature. So now it's possible to share spaces within the UI of Explore, and this really can improve collaboration among team members with regards to understanding the shape of a particular API or the different calls that have been made by another team member, and really just to improve the collaboration of getting an API integrated into your own system. So we'll showcase that, and we'll also showcase the export and import spaces functionality from the CLI. So you now have the option of sharing and collaborating over spaces in different ways, depending on what suits your team the best. After the demo, we'll then cut back to Temil to get the product manager perspective. So with that, let me just bring up SwaggerHub Explore. So here we are in my instance of SwaggerHub Explore, and I have quite a few spaces here that I have recorded and cataloged different calls that I make to APIs that I'm exploring. And what I want to do is now share a particular space and show the experience of doing that, and what it also looks like for someone who I may send the URL to, and what happens when they import that URL into their session. So I'm going to go to this FinTech workshop updated space. And now if I hit on the menu options for that, I see that there's a new option here called Share Snapshot. I'm going to click that. It's going to bring up this modal asking me if I want to make this link accessible for multiple uses and to have it a little bit more perpetual, or if I want to also share the authorization settings that are contained within the space. So I'm just going to choose one option here just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to generate the link. Link has been generated, and I'm going to copy that link. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over to another session that I have. So here you can see within this session I'm signed in as a different user, and I have no spaces currently within this user's workspace. So I'm just going to paste in the URL that I shared with this user, and now you can see that I was able to successfully import the space. All of the requests that are in the space are contained, and immediately I can start exploring a particular API, which is pretty useful. So maybe Temil, before I go into the other angle of showing this through the CLI, why was it really important for you and the team to get this feature added to Explore?
Yeah, great question. It's imperative that, folks that work in teams can easily work together, right? Exploring is great, but if there's a certain amount of work that is done while exploring that you could share with your colleagues and help them ramp up on the APIs that you've been working on, it's tremendously valuable and accelerates the amount of time that, it takes you to explore APIs. So being able to share and decide whether you want to share your authorization information configuration, right, is also important because you may not want to share that as well. And again, the main value there is speeding up teams, making sure that they don't have to start from scratch when their colleagues have already started exploring. Also, if you're an API provider and you want your consumers to easily start interacting with your APIs, you can easily create a space and share those out to your consumers. So again, we're trying to accelerate processes here, trying to avoid the hassle of having to start from scratch if a space already exists from one of your API providers or one of your colleagues inside of your teams.
Cool. Yeah, that makes complete sense. And as I mentioned at the outset, we also have this option available through the CLI. So that gives again another option for folks, maybe if they're persisting some of their spaces in a code repository, that they have the ability to keep these things in sync across a couple of team members. So what I'm going to run here is, if we look at the Explore CLI, options that we have, we see that there's an option to export spaces. So I'm signed in here under my initial account where I have multiple spaces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to export some of these spaces, so an OpenAI space and a SwaggerHub portal space. So I'm just going to export those. So that has been done, and then in another terminal window which is linked to the second account, I'm going to import the spaces that I've shared. I'm just going to go through the process of importing these spaces. So OpenAI one has been imported, and now the SwaggerHub portal. Again, if I go back to my session, we can see that these additional spaces have now popped up, and they're available for me to explore and get up and running with those additional APIs as well. So we're giving multiple different avenues here to try and work with teams on the terms that work best for them, and integrate into the workflows that work best for them. So making it much easier for everyone to share and collaborate around the APIs that they're exploring. So with that, I think we can wrap up. Temil, any final words from yourself, and maybe giving a very brief look as to maybe what's coming ahead into the new year?
Oh yeah. So there's a lot coming in 2024. We're heavily working on a lot more testing functionality to include as part of exploration. So again, a lot of things coming and a lot of fun things coming for 2024. So please stay tuned.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Temil, and happy exploring, everybody.
Happy New Year, guys. Have a good one. Happy holidays.